No one teaches you how debt really works. They just hand you a card, an overdraft, a payment plan, and expect you to be responsible. But here's the part no one prepares you for. Debt doesn't start with numbers. It starts with emotions. Fear, shame, comparison, and that quiet feeling of, I'm behind, I need to catch up. Before you ever looked at interest rates or due dates, your mind was already forming a relationship with debt long before you realized it. That's why some of your worst financial decisions didn't feel wrong in the moment. The purchase felt small. The installments looked manageable. The debt felt temporary. And that's exactly how the cycle begins. You don't wake up one day bad with money. You slowly get pulled into a system that rewards quick relief and punishes long-term thinking. But here's the truth. If you understand the psychology behind debt, you can protect yourself from it for the rest of your life. That's what the psychology of money really gives you, not just theories about wealth, but a new way to see the decisions that put you into debt and the mindset that keeps you out of it. And that's exactly what we're going to explore together. The first thing you need to understand is this. You never chose your first beliefs about money or about debt. They came from what you saw growing up. Maybe you watched people around you using credit to survive the month. Maybe debt was normal, like everyone has it. Maybe bills were always late. Maybe money was a taboo subject. Or maybe it was the opposite, a house where people were terrified of debt, and that fear passed on to you in silence. All of that became your script. So when you took your first loan, used your first credit card, or financed something you couldn't really afford, none of that was random. You weren't careless. You were repeating patterns. The book explains something powerful. You don't react to money itself. You react to your history with money. That includes your history with debt. And when you see this clearly, the shame starts to lose its power. You realize, I'm not a failure. I'm just continuing a story that started before me. And any story can be rewritten. But there's another force quietly pushing you toward debt, one that feels so normal you barely notice it. Comparison. You don't just look at your life, you look at everyone else's at the same time. You see people your age with a car you want, an apartment that looks better, trips that seem out of reach, a lifestyle that feels normal. And when normal becomes expensive, debt becomes the bridge. Everyone finances things. Everyone has a card. This is just how life is now. It feels harmless. It feels like you're just catching up. But as the book reminds you, real wealth is silent. Status is loud. Debt is often the price you pay to look like you're doing fine before you actually are. And the cruel part is this. The more you compare, the more debt looks reasonable. Because you're not just buying things, you're buying relief from the feeling of being behind. That's why it's so easy to say yes to a payment plan, even when a quiet voice inside you says no. You're not paying for the object, you're paying to silence your anxiety. And that bill is always more expensive than it looks. At some point, you probably told yourself, I'll just pay it off later. When I earn more, this won't matter. This is only temporary. And in theory, it makes sense. But the psychology of money repeats a hard truth. What destroys people financially is rarely one big decision. It's a series of small decisions that never get corrected. Debt works the same way. A little balance becomes a habit becomes a lifestyle, and that lifestyle becomes a trap. Not because you're weak, but because your brain is wired to prioritize now over later. Right now, the purchase feels real. Right now, the relief feels real. The problem? The future bill doesn't. Your mind discounts future pain. It believes your future self will have more money, more discipline, more clarity. But your future self is just you later. Same brain, same patterns, same temptations.
If nothing changes internally, your income can grow and your debt will grow with it. That's why some people earn more every year and somehow stay stuck in the same cycle. Pay, clear a little, use again, repeat. It's not an income problem, it's a behavior problem. And behavior is exactly what we're here to change. Before we go deeper, I want to ask you something. What's one debt decision you regret? And what did it try to give you emotionally in that moment? Relief? Status? Comfort? Escape? Share it in the comments, not to expose yourself, but to understand yourself. Because once you see the emotion behind your debt, you finally know where to begin changing. One of the most powerful ideas in the psychology of money is simple but uncomfortable. Enough is a decision, not a number. If you don't define what enough is for you, the world will do it for you, and the world will always ask for more. More stuff, more status, more upgrades, more proof that you're doing well, and that more is often financed. Debt feeds on the inability to say, "This is good enough for me right now." Every time you say, "I deserve this," without checking if you can truly afford it, you're letting emotion define enough for you. And emotion has no limit. So if you want to never fall into debt again, you need something stronger than motivation. You need a personal definition of enough. Enough lifestyle, enough social proof, enough pressure to look like everyone else. Because when your enough is clear, a lot of things that used to feel urgent stop. And when they stop, you make fewer decisions you have to pay for later. The book also insists on another principle: room for error. In technical terms, it's margin of safety. In real life, it's this: life will not go as planned. And if your finances have no cushion, debt becomes your default backup plan. An unexpected bill, a health issue, a car problem, a job change. If you have no margin, all of that becomes debt. Not because you're irresponsible, but because you had no space for life to happen. Never falling into destructive debt again is less about strength and more about margin. Your emergency fund isn't just money, it's emotional protection. It protects you from panic decisions. It protects you from predatory offers. It protects you from becoming desperate. And desperate people take bad deals. So one of the most practical ways to apply the psychology of money to stay out of debt is this: Before you upgrade your lifestyle, upgrade your margin. Before you buy more, build more safety. It's not exciting. It doesn't look impressive. No one on social media will applaud you for it, but your future self will. Another lesson from the book: financial success is not about being a genius. It's about avoiding ruin, avoiding the kind of mistake that sets you back for years. Debt becomes dangerous when it has the power to control your choices. When a credit card bill decides what job you can leave. When a loan decides where you have to live. When your payments define your options more than your values. That's when debt stops being a tool and becomes a trap. So if you want to protect yourself permanently, you don't need a perfect plan. You just need a set of rules that keep you away from ruin. Things like, I never finance something that loses value quickly just to impress other people. Or, if I can't pay the full balance at the end of the month, this card is a danger, not a convenience. Or, if an expense depends on future income I don't have yet, the answer is no. These are not rules about numbers. They're rules about identity. You're choosing to be the kind of person who doesn't rent status from the future. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, but how do I actually break the death cycle I'm already in and never return to it? The answer isn't glamorous, but it works. It starts with changing how you see yourself. As the book suggests, you don't need to be rational. You need to be reasonable. Reasonable people don't chase perfection. They build systems they can live with. So if you want to never fall into debt again, you don't need a dramatic transformation. You need a sustainable identity shift. From I use debt when I feel pressure to I protect my future even when I feel pressure.
From I'll figure it out later to I respect myself too much to sabotage my future self. From I'm bad with money to I'm learning to behave differently with money, step by step. Identity changes behavior. Behavior changes results. Results change your story. To make this easier, I created something that turns all these ideas into daily practice. In the pinned comment, you'll find a link to the 30-Day Wealth Habits Challenge. It's a guided, step-by-step challenge that helps you build real financial habits, the kind that protect you from debt and support you for years. It doesn't matter if you're starting from a negative balance, from zero, or from constant anxiety with bills. The challenge was designed to give you simple daily actions you can actually sustain in real life. If you feel like you're always fixing your financial mistakes, this is your chance to build a foundation that prevents them from repeating. Now, let's get even more practical. Think of staying out of debt as a system with 3 layers. Layer 1, emotional awareness. Layer 2, simple structure. Layer 3, automatic protection. Layer 1, emotional awareness. This is where you ask, when do I usually fall into debt? When you're tired? Lonely? Stressed? Trying to impress someone? Trying to feel normal? Write down the patterns, not to judge yourself, but to disarm them. If you know you spend impulsively late at night, that's not random. It's a pattern, and patterns can be interrupted. If you know certain people or places trigger your urge to keep up, that's not weakness. It's conditioning. And conditioning can be rewired. Layer 2. Simple structure. You don't need a perfect budget. You need clarity. Know what comes in. Know what must go out. Know what you're building toward. Give every dollar a job. Essentials, safety, future, and enjoyment. When everything has a place, debt stops being the default solution because your mind no longer feels like your money is chaos. Layer 3. Automatic protection. This is where you stop relying on willpower. Automate your savings. Automate your debt payments. Set spending limits before you start the month, not during the impulse. The less you need to decide in the moment, the less your emotions can hijack your future. You're not trying to be stronger. You're designing a life where fewer temptations reach you at full force. That's how you build a debt-free identity. The book reinforces this again and again. Behavior beats knowledge. There are people with average incomes and excellent habits who end up wealthy and free, and people with high incomes and chaotic habits who stay trapped in the same financial stress for years. The difference isn't intelligence, it's behavior. So if you've been in debt before, or if you're in debt right now, you're not disqualified from financial peace. In fact, you might become more careful, more aware, and more disciplined than people who never felt this pain, because you know what it costs. The goal isn't to never make a mistake again. The goal is to never again be the person who ignores the lesson. So take a moment. Think about your past with debt. The times you felt embarrassed. The payments that kept you awake. The moments you swore you'd never do this again, and then did. Not out of stupidity, out of habit. Now imagine something different. You still face temptations. You still see people ahead of you. You still have bad days. But instead of reaching for credit, you reach for your principles. Instead of thinking, I'll fix this later, you think, I respect myself too much to do this. Instead of trying to look rich, you quietly build real wealth. That's what it means to apply the psychology of money to never fall into debt again. It's not a magic promise, it's a new identity. And identity doesn't depend on your balance. It depends on your decisions, especially the small ones. So, if you're ready to turn this into action, remember, in the pinned comment, you'll find the 30-Day Wealth Habits Challenge. It's there to guide you, day by day, out of survival mode and into a calmer, stronger relationship with money. If this video made you reflect, even for a moment, consider subscribing and turning on notifications. Here, we talk about money psychology, financial behavior, and how to build real wealth without sacrificing your peace. Step by step, habit by habit, choice by choice, you can become the person who never needs debt to feel okay again.